Hello. That Paris International Exhibition that I mentioned in part 1 that took place in 1925 had a huge impact on ceramics. It stimulated demand for hand-painted ware. That gave rise to creative opportunities, the kind of opportunities that just didn't exist with transfer printing. And Art Deco is the period when it became common for designers to sign their work. I think one of the first designers to do so was William Moorcroft. In his early days working for Macintyre's, he was the exception, and I associate William Moorcroft more with the Secessionists and Art Nouveau than with Art Deco. Clarice Cliff, arguably the best known name, and her designs have come to epitomise British Art Deco. Closely followed by people like Susie Cooper, Truda Carter, Charlotte Rhead and Keith Murray, and many potteries produced in the Art Deco style. Myatt's, Shelley China, Carlton for example. Charlotte Rhead's associated with Crown Ducal, Truda Carter with Poole pottery, and Susie Cooper designed for Wedgwoods as well as for her own Chelsea and Crown works. Shelley China introduced some very stylish Art Deco ranges. This is Harmony ware. We can see it here with a ginger jar and a jam dish and plate. This is the Vogue pattern with a sunray design, and Mode again with a sunray design. Shelley closed in 1966, but its Art Deco designs were very successful at the time and are collectible today. Now, Charlotte Rhead was born in Burslem. She came from an artistic family. Her father worked for Shelley, for Wedgwood and for other potteries, and she went to Fenton's School of Art. Now, this is a period when even small towns had their own schools of art, and started work at Wardwell's in Hanley, where she learned the skill of tube lining. Now, this is the technique of squeezing a thin trail of clay through a nozzle onto a pot, and it creates raised lines inside which the paint can be applied. It's a skill associated with art pottery. It is not suited to mass production and is something of a lost art today. And after spells with a couple of other potteries, she ended up with Crown Ducal in Tunstall, and some of her designs, this tube-lined plate. And I have here some of her designs. This is called Patch and Stitch. Dates to between 1933 and 1935. And if I can show you perhaps the back stamp as well. And this is another Patch and Stitch Charlotte Rhead. And this particular pattern, again, Patch and Stitch Charlotte Rhead designs. She is perhaps a little more traditional than, say, Clarice Cliff or Susie Cooper. Now, Keith Murray qualified as an architect. In World War I, he served as a pilot. He won the Military Cross. But after the war, there was a recession and not a lot of work for architects. He visited the Paris exhibition and was inspired to design tableware and also glass. And he worked on a freelance basis for companies like Wedgwood. And in 1936, Wedgwood appointed him as the architect to design their new factory at Barlaston. His style is very restrained, very clean, pure forms, sold well at the time, very collectible today. Truda Carter was recruited to Poole pottery in 1921 by Cyril Carter, who she later married, and produced some very influential bold patterns, some geometric, some floral. I'll show you the back stamp on here as well. And then there is this Egyptian motif. Susie Cooper was born in Burslem, won a scholarship to Burslem School of Art, went to work for the local pottery A.E. Gray. By the age of 21, she is their resident designer. And these are her hand-painted Deco designs, but on mainly traditional shapes that A.E. Gray was producing. She set up her own business in Tunstall in 1929 with her brother-in-law, and that enabled her to develop her own shapes as well as decoration. And this is a cube pattern coffee set. And she also designed for Wedgwood. And Clarice Cliff, born in Tunstall, began an apprenticeship as an enameller at the age of 13. She's also going to the School of Art in Tunstall and at Burslem at the same time. At 18, she moved to A.J. Wilkinson's in Burslem Royal Staff's Pottery, where her flair and her skill are very soon recognised, and she was given her own studio, Wilkinson's Newport Pottery. Visited Paris, enthused by the new modern designs, and her first series of hand-painted bizarre patterns appeared in 1927. Very striking, very bold, very new at the time, criticised at the time, but they sold well. By 1931, she's in charge of a workforce of 1,000, and that includes the Bizarre Girls, a team of all-female painters. And they're producing streamlined versions of existing Wilkinson shapes, plus some new, completely revolutionary shapes, and a series of eye-catching designs. This is Crocus, Diamond. This is Mondrian, named after Piet Mondrian, the modernist Dutch painter. These are called yo-yo vases. And there was constant experimentation, and among some of the most famous designs we have May Avenue, Orange Roof Cottage and Wind Bells. Now you could buy all of these at the major stores, Harrods, Waring and Gillow, Liberty, Selfridges. An estimated 8 million pieces of Clarice Cliff pottery was sold. But after World War II, sales declined. It just simply went out of fashion. Now, of course, hugely collectible and commands high prices. Now I'm going to stay with ceramics next time, but with a less well-known name and a look at a Derbyshire pottery with a big reputation that's still in business today. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons and click on the notification bell to be informed when the next video is available. Or you can subscribe by clicking on the rose window over my shoulder.